You see, I must watch my back, cause niggas put up a front. I'm out here walking my walk, what you expect me to run? I'm on my last $100, that's all I got for the month. But shit, I'm still gonna have fun, cause shit, I feel like I won. I've just been going through the motions, cooking up the potions. Chambojets, I'm rolling.
Trippy fade out. aaronaye. Out, James, in. Okay, that was Care For Me by aaronaye. Second single out. Second music video out on YouTube. Check that out. And the previous episode I did on his first single, which was called Since 96, which after I had done the episode, the video was shot and released, and that's out on YouTube. And both are basically a 1-2 punch, as far as they both are part of Aaron's intro to the world as an artist, telling his story and representing just, where he comes from, what his life's been like, what he's gone through, and just basically who he is as a person and as a music artist now. Between those two songs, you can get a good feel for that. And if you check him out, if you haven't already, I think it's important to read up on him, about his bio and whatnot. It gives a lot more significance to his music and his songwriting and his lyrics when you hear all that, and you know where he's coming from. Especially with this song, Care For Me. He's had not to make it all about him, because it's all about me. But yeah, he's had a pretty difficult life. And this song is just him expressing his feeling of just the cards, the hand of cards that life has dealt him, and what he is doing to deal with it, basically, and just carry on and go about his business and go about his art and his passion regardless. And I really respect him a lot for that. A lot of people would take very difficult experiences in life and painful and traumatic experiences and just use it as a crutch to lean on, to just always have an excuse to not persevere and succeed and grow and just become stronger from it, which this is exactly what he's done, is all those things of the positive. And so let's talk about the song. Let's talk about that mix, which I did, obviously, which is why I'm talking about it. Maybe at some point I will talk about other songs that I've not mixed, that have nothing to do with, but just as a critic, as a just a critical breakdown of other stuff, in case it's something that anybody would want to hear. Maybe something I just would want to talk about one day. But for now, let's keep it to songs that I've done, because at the end of the day, I'll be honest, this is all self-promotion. And self-exploration. It's not all about just me. Hey, everybody, look at me. It's about exploring and re-examining things that I had previously overlooked. That being The thing being my work and the things that I've done, and a lot of times, pretty much every time up until every single song I've ever mixed has always been pressure and rush and deadlines and all that stuff to just, it's time to mix. Here, I need you to mix this. Okay, go. And then it's always like, are you done yet? Are you done yet? When can we get it? When can we get it? We need another version. We need some changes. We need to do this. We need to, released it. Oh, we need to get it. We need to get it in by this day. So for me, it's always a mad rush. My brain's a little bit scrambled because it's always a bunch of other things going on in life, personal and professional. So my brain is just all over the place, and I do these mixes, and pretty much every time I just don't even know. I'm just on autopilot, just because, not total autopilot, but as far as the part of my brain that's thinking and analyzing and self-examining and all that stuff, I'm just trusting my ears. I'm letting my ears take the responsibility. I do the work, I do the mixes, I listen back, I monitor, I listen back in headphones, car, listen at home, listen to other speakers, and all I know is just I'm trusting my ears to give me the green light that the mix is done. And it's always, when I listen to stuff that I've worked on way later, maybe months or so after I've done it, and the song is out, that I just feel like, man, did I fuck that one up? And I think about that for everything I do, because when I listen to mixes like right away, right when they've been released, when it's still fresh, when it's only like a few weeks within the time that I've mixed it, it always sounds like shit to me. And I'm like, oh, damn it, I fucked that one up. Damn it. And then if I wait long enough, wait a few more months later, and then it's more, it's been wiped from my brain a little bit more, and then I hear it, even if it's stuff that's older mixes, it sounds way better. way better, which is a relief. And so what I've learned and realized is that it's just my ears. That's what it is. It's my ears and my feeling, I guess. It's not just a straight up, it's not just a single sensation, but it is mostly that. I'm trusting my ears, and they, time and time again, as I look back in hindsight, they've been trustworthy. So that's the only thing I can go by when my brain is not working, or my brain is too overloaded to know for sure that the mix is done and the mix is good and there aren't any major flaws in it. There's no such thing as a perfect mix, of course. It's just, if the client's happy, that's when it's done. Unless it's your own music, then it's probably never done. Or that's not true. But yeah, I'd say because there's always a time limitation. Yeah, I don't know if there's ever such thing as a perfect. Because yeah, a perfect mix, that's just opinion, really. So, damn, I haven't even talked about the song yet. All right, Care for Me. The main part of this beat are the heavy drums and this kind of deep, in your face kind of trumpet, horn. That's not even a trumpet. It's just a really deep horn section kind of thing, and some 808s. And a little bit of like kind of organ pad-ish kind of thing going on. It just creates some space, atmosphere, fill it in. And that's mostly it. There's a couple other small details in there, but let's just say that's mainly it. And even though it's not a lot of elements, it was a bit of a tricky thing to figure out because the kick is so heavy and boomy, and not boomy, but it's very heavy. There's a lot of low end to the kick. And there's also an 808 in the song too. So that is always a big challenge of getting very deep subby kicks and 808s to work together and to have it not get muddy and sound distorted and all that. I don't know, this is the biggest mystery to me, is that people can do that, make a track like that where there is a super subby kick and an 808, and have that just be the thing that's in their song. And when they have a rough mix of the song and they have a demo or something and everything's cranked up loud and the limiter is like, it's just slammed, and that's just how people are used to hearing their own song as their rough demo. And somehow it always like sounds fine, and then when you try to mix it and enhance everything, then it doesn't sound fine, and then you have to explain to them, well, I had to turn one of them down because there's too much bass, because it was overloading, it was clipping, it was distorting, or it's just, there's a lot of muddiness going on. And they're like, what? But it sounded fine before. And somehow it just doesn't work when you start to mix it. And I feel like an idiot because I can't explain. But I can't properly explain what's going on and why I had to basically turn down some of the bass in those elements. And yeah, it's such a weird phenomenon that the rough demo, in certain ways, mix-wise, some things just work. And when you try to mix and try to do a better version of that, there's certain parts of it that some reason you just cannot beat. Like, you can't do better than what's happening in the rough. And what's happening in the rough is oftentimes like nothing. Sometimes it's just tracks in a session, and maybe there's just like a limiter on the master bus. Maybe not a lot of plugins or nothing, and everything is just in there. And like I said, it's slammed on the limiter, so it's loud. And that's what they want it to sound like. And that's, maybe what actually sounds good. But then when you're trying to mix it, you're getting hired to mix it, so you got to do something. And I think that's a real trap that's easy to fall into all the time when it comes to mixing, is always feeling like you got to do something. Like, I'm supposed to be doing something. I'm not supposed to just send it back to them the way they sent it to me because, it sounds good, so it's done. There you go. Yeah, oftentimes that's the case, kind of what happened with this song, because I did go the first version that I had done and I did all those things where my programming as an engineer went into effect and was like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to go in on this and tinker with it and tweak it and find out all these small little details that I can mess around with and tweak and enhance and make this sound like air quotes a mix. And then I sent it over and they're like, no, what? Sorry, man. No, this is not it. Maybe you got to try again. I'm like, oh, fuck. Luckily with this, it's the guys that produced it, I'm good friends with. They produced Aaron's first single since '96. They go by Culture Shock. Shout out to JB and Karan. If you've been around in LA music industry, you might have heard those names before. These guys have been around for a while, have lots of experience. And I think it's a good combination of them with their experience working with a younger up-and-coming artist like Aaron, where you get the best of both worlds. You get the experience with the young, fresh perspective and approach. And I think it makes it a very well-rounded project. But yeah, luckily I'm friends with those guys, so when the mix is not right, they're very understanding, of course, and they just tell me what I need to do instead, not just, they don't get upset with me or nothing like that. But they'll just be honest with me. But still, even for me, like, when it's not right, I still feel bad because I didn't get it right. I'm still, friends or not, I'm still doing this as a professional. So it took me, I think the final version was version 4. That's the one we went with. And yeah, so it took me 4 versions to get to that point to realize that I was just doing too much. I was doing more than was necessary. I was doing just things that I was in love with the idea of. And I wasn't thinking about the reality and the practicality of what I was doing and what the song was and what it needed to be as a final mix. And that's a very, very common issue with myself. I think anybody that works on music in any capacity, that is something that happens all the time, is that the idea of something is so attractive when you think about it in your head versus the reality of what it is. I learned this little analogy because I was working with somebody who was all about this. I still work with them. I won't say who they are, but I still work with them. And I see this all the time where they're just so in love with the idea of a thing of, let's do this. It would be so cool if we did this. I really think it would be cool if the project was like all about this, or there was this story, or it'd be really cool if we got like some saxophone on this song, or, just any number of things that be like, I think it'd be really cool if I really want it to feel like if, but then, there's the reality of like, okay, will that actually work? Will it actually sound good? Will that actually make sense? Will that be practical? Is that doable? And then oftentimes, maybe it's like 50-50 if it is good or not, And so even for me, for the idea in mixing, when I first hear a song and I start to brainstorm what I might be doing in the mix, I can get sidetracked a lot by ideas of like, oh, yeah, it would be cool if I did this, if it sounded like this, if I use this kind of effect on this kind of thing and whatnot. And yeah, oftentimes it just leads you down the wrong path. So what's good about these mixes is when they are a good learning experience. When you stop learning, stop growing, I don't know. Maybe that's it for you. Or I don't know, maybe you just reach the pinnacle and you're just the shit. So that's all there is. But for me, I got a long way to go still. I still think I'm at the bottom. I just started the marathon. So I had to stop and just meditate on this and think about, okay, what am I doing? Because every time you send a mix over to somebody and they just tell you flat out like, no, that's not it, then you're like, ah, shit. Then it's like the ego has to, has to take a seat and be like, all right, you're not as dope of a mixer, dope of an engineer as you thought you were. So let's just figure out what we need to do. Let's figure out where we went wrong. Let's retrace our steps. So I went back to, of course, this is what happens all the time is what you hear is like, just listen to the reference. Listen to the reference mix that we sent you, the rough demo, or just the rough mix or whatever. Listen to that. We just want that, but just a clean, polished version. Make it hit harder, make the vocals nice and clear and upfront, present. And most of the time, that's really what people just want. They're not interested in all these like subtle, fine details of all these little things that you think that, the engineer's thinking about. Because that's what I do think about. I think about all these super subtle details that nobody's going to pay attention to. No one's going to hear. It's like you got to wear headphones to hear that there's like a little thing going on in the left and the right sides. That if you listen really close, you can hear there's this little effect thing going on this little quiet part. It's like, I don't know why, but yeah, I care about that stuff. That's interesting to me when I hear it in other songs, when I'm listening to music in headphones versus listening to it like in my car or just on speakers. When you put on headphones, you hear more fine detail. And for me, I always enjoy those moments when I find a new thing in the track that I've never heard before. Something that, when you have a moment to just sit there quiet and listen to music in headphones with no distractions, and you really can just melt into the music, that, yeah, you hear certain things that are buried in the track that just, when you hear them in that type of way, they're so apparent in your face. You're like, oh, geez, that's been in there this whole time. And it's always like makes the song brand new again in a way, because you just a song you've heard plenty of times, and you just thought you know everything about that song when there's something else to be discovered. Anyways, so I like that idea, which is why I'm in love with that idea. If I can do that myself in a song with something that I'm producing or mixing or whatnot, but that's not always appropriate. That's not always what matters and what you need to do. So yeah, so I just listened to the rough mix and I was like, all right, fine, whatever. I doesn't need to be about what I want. And it just needs to be, I just need to make them happy, because yeah, I got to version 2. It was like, all right, it's kind of getting more in the right direction, but we still need a few more tweaks. Did a version 3 and it was like, okay, we're almost there. A few more small tweaks, a few more things. Do this, do that. They're like, okay. Send version 4. And it's like, all right, here we go again. I give up. I don't know. Time goes by. I didn't hear back right away. So I was just, damn it. But then, yeah, then I get the text. Oh, that's it. Number 4. It's done. I'm like, oh, thank you. And yeah, so I just listened to the song right before I started this episode just to review it. And I was pretty happy with it. I think it sounded good. I think it was, to me, it sounds like it's mixed. Like I did what I wanted to do, but it sounds like what they want it to be, so I'm like, in the end, it's, once again, my ears. I trusted my ears, and they were right for the most part. So, lesson to be learned yet again. That's always important. That's what I always look for. That's what I always am grateful for, is the lessons that apply to my work, but apply to, to life, I think, because that is always the thing when you are a creative person, is that you just have ideas all the time. And ideas, when they pop into your head, they always seem awesome because they're just in your head. Like you only see the positive. You see the thing that interests you, that intrigues you, that's like infatuates you, that you're like, oh, that would be so awesome if I could do this. And it's just an idea. So you have no way of experiencing your idea in the real world played out to know what's good and what's bad about your idea. It's like seeing a person that you're attractive to, like you see somebody on like Instagram or something, and you're like, you come across their page and you're like, oh damn, look at them, and then you start checking them out, and then you're like, wow, that person, whether it's guy or girl, depending what you're into, but and then you just start kind of getting infatuated with their image and their idea of that person. You're like, damn, if I ever met them. But you have no idea because you don't know them. You haven't met them. Like you could just be so into them in the idea of them. But they could be a horrible person or just not a good fit for you. Like if you ever met them in real life, it could just may or may not work out. But I mean, who knows? But that's the thing, it's always like, going back to talking about this artist that I work with, they would be so into the idea of people that they were really into, either someone that they had just met or someone that they had previously dated or this and that, where they're just, I just can't stop thinking about them. But in reality, you don't get along with that person. So the head and the heart, I guess that's what it is. And you got to use both. How much of each? I don't know. I think 50-50, I guess that would work, right? One to balance out the other. Checks and balances. But I guess you need a third, right? You need a third thing if you want to have proper checks and balances, like our government, which works so well. So, right? Anyways, so now I have reached that point of the episode where I don't know what I'm going to talk about. So how about, okay. I'm going to pretend like I've just found a new thread of thought. I've, in the past year, I guess, I think through experiences like this, of mixing songs like this and realizing that it's like, you have to be, very practical. You have to try to be practical in a lot of ways. Not too practical to where you just like, you never strive to do some shit that seems impossible. You got to do that too. You got to make the impossible dream possible. But practicality is important, I think, because when dealing with yourself and dealing with your own thoughts and your own mental programs and your preferences and your beliefs and all that, like, I think it's good to be practical when you are going to examine yourself and the way you think. And I've had to do that with how I view music in general through these type of experiences of mixing. It made me think about, why do I like the music that I like? What do I dislike the music that I dislike? What is it what are my values I'm listening to music and I'm judging it and on if it's good or not. You know, what am I basing that on? And you know, a lot of it you think about, when you start to think about it, you're like, I don't know. I don't know why I think that this type of music is good and this type of music is not good, or a song that sounds like this or talks about kind of this kind of stuff or feels like this is bad. When I started to think about it, yeah, I just felt like, well, I don't know. Why do I think like that? Is it necessary for me to think like that? What's the point? And when I realized I had no answer, then it changed. Then I was like, well, fuck it. Okay, I mean, just listen, just hear music and just don't have a filter, you know? Just listen to it and hear it for what it is and feel it, and don't judge it for the person that's making the song, that's performing the song, what the song is about, you know, if it's a song that's performed well by somebody or not, or, you know, is it a good beat or not beat? I don't know. You know, it's like the biggest like example of that is if you listen to rap music, modern day rap music, if you like it or not. For me, it took me until like 2018 to like rap music, like I've explained before in past episodes. And like hip hop and rap, that was all I listened to up until I was like in my 20s. And then I just had to step away for a bit because of my, you know, childhood growing up listening to a certain type of hip hop and rap that sounded like a certain way. And I based my values on that and how I would listen to music, what it sounded like and what I felt like. So when it didn't sound like that anymore and I didn't feel like that anymore, I was judging the newer rap music and hip hop as being like not good. And yeah, a lot of it was like just not good, of course, you know, speaking objectively, it just was not good. So, but I was just kind of painting in broad strokes and just saying, you know, rap music just sucks now. It just sucks. I'm not listening to any of it. It's all trash. And still, a lot of it is still trash. But here's the thing. I can listen to trash now and I can like it and I can enjoy it and I can enjoy it for what it is. I took away those filters, maybe not all of them, but I took away a good amount of filters of how I was judging it. And then I got to that point where I realized I don't know, it's not that serious, I guess. I mean, it's serious. It's like music is my life and my profession and how I make a living for myself and my family. That's pretty serious. But, you know, music, just for what it is, it's not that serious. It's so not serious. It's really just have fun with it. That's really, I don't know, that's really the only point of music, I feel like. Just have fun with it. When you make it, when you listen to it, and just find a way. If it's not fun, just always try to choose the high road of like, how can I just enjoy this? Maybe that's not correct, but that's just how I'm seeing it now. So, yeah, and also, especially when you are educated in music in one way or another, either as a musician, you know music theory, you know how to play an instrument, you know how to sing, you know how to make a beat, you know how to engineer, like you have all this extra insight and expertise on music. So that always will create more filters in your mind when you have that type of information and education in your brain of you just know things. So it makes it even more difficult to experience music in a way with like no mind when you do have a lot in your mind. So that's a tough balancing act, but that's how I'm trying to go about it now, is to whatever the knee-jerk reaction is, just don't pay attention to that for the moment. And I find that for myself, that has resulted in me enjoying music a lot, way, way more, enjoying my work way, way more, because it's tough as an engineer to work on music that you are judging as bad music, because you have to hear it, you have to hear the song over and over again. So each time you're hearing it and you're judging, I don't like this song sucks, that's just like punching yourself in the face. And then each time you hear the song again, you're just getting punched again. So it's like you just keep getting hundreds of times punched in the face. Where if you just stop thinking about it like that, then the punching goes away. Then it becomes, I don't know, a soft caress by a baby soft hand on your face. Or not, I don't know, maybe that's weird. So anyways, I can listen to the most basic and simplistic rap song ever now, and I can enjoy it. I can listen to like a song that got made on, the beat got made on Fruity Loops with like stock sounds, no plugins, no effects on it, just everything stock, plain beat, and then some mumble rap on top of it with autotune, bad singing, bad rapping, bad mix, quote unquote bad mix. And I can listen to stuff like that now and enjoy it, and enjoy the fact that actually that it goes against everything that I've been trained to think about music and my approach. It goes 180 against that, and I enjoy it, and that makes me enjoy it even more. The fact that I can enjoy it, that I got myself to a point that I can enjoy music in that way, enjoy life that way, because, think about that, applying it to just life in general. How can you always see things and experience life for the better, for the positive, and not like, not in a delusional way, like where you can't ever face the facts of when shit is really bad. It's like you still got to be able to do that, but just to not let it turn you negative when negative things happen. As long as whatever is happening, you can learn from it and move forward, then it's always a positive in the end. Maybe not the immediate experience of certain things, but yeah, it's very interesting how that happens. I watch a lot of videos, a lot of those kind of genius videos of like, the making of a certain song. And it's so funny because they're all the same almost. It's just always like, whenever it's like a rap song, it's almost always the exact same video. It's like there's the guy that made the beat, and it's like, so I made the beat, so and they started with Fruity Loops almost all the time on a PC, laptop, and you're like, and they're always in a studio. I don't know why that's so funny. It's just like they're always in the studio. The laptop is on top of the console, and then they're just going to the beat. Okay, yeah. So here's the synth I put in. I found a loop. or I played 3 notes and then I put it through gross beat, and then I put in the hi-hat, and then I put in the snare, and then I put in the kick, and then I put in the 808, and then I made millions. And it's so every time I'm like, God damn, what am I doing? Like, these guys are doing the simplest shit, like the most like minimal effort, and it's working. They're being so successful doing just the most minimal shit, and they don't even like. Some guys acknowledge that what they're doing is super minimal and simple, and some guys are just like, they don't question it. They're just like, yeah, this is what I do. I'm the shit. I'm making records. I'm making platinum records, and got 100 million streams, you know. So to me, it's like an inverted inspirational video for me, because it's not like, look how hard I worked and I did this and I went like above and beyond and I worked my ass off and I aimed for the pinnacle and I made it and I was successful. It's like, no, I thought about, I did the least I could do, the least amount of effort I could do, and I made it. And it's like, wow, you can be successful in that way too. Why? It's like, in a way, that's very refreshing for me, because it goes, I mean, that's a mental program that I've had. I think a lot of people have, is that you work hard, you know, stay focused and stay determined and just, you know, stay disciplined and keep working, and it'll pay off one day and you'll be successful. And it's like, yeah, I guess that's how it works, right? That's how you want to be successful. This is what you do, you know, especially if you grow up in a family like Asian American family, for example, like I did, where that's just the case. It's just, you know, just get down to it and put in the hard work. And then for me to see that that's not exactly the case, is like, you could do the exact opposite of that, and you could prove everybody wrong, and you could be the last one laughing at the end of the day, laughing all the way to the bank. So yeah, those videos are funny, and there's just the guys, all the producers. It's just so funny watching them. It's like, yeah, and then they're always in a studio, like a nice studio, and some of them, you know, they are working in those nice studios, but they're not using a single piece of gear. Like, the laptop is just going through the speakers. Their cheap PC laptop running Windows and Fruity Loops. That's like probably cracked. So it's like, I don't know. Anyway, I saw one more recently, and it was like a Lil Pump song, which that guy is so funny that, like, I like him. Maybe not as a person. If I ever met him in real life, maybe I wouldn't like him. But just the music for me, it's like stupid fun in a way. That's a prime example for me, to hear music and be like, I don't give a fuck, whatever. I like it. I'm enjoying it while it's on. I totally get all the reasons why pretty much anybody else that I could talk to would hate him. And, you know, a year ago, I would be one of those people too that would just be like, oh, fuck that guy. Fucking garbage. But now I'm just like, you know what? If I was him, if I was 17 and I was rapping just some bullshit, you know, with my friends, and it blew up and I became a millionaire, fuck, man, I would love that. So I'm not going to hate on him. It's like he's basically did it on his own, you know. Anyways, whatever. So I saw one video breakdown of one of his songs, and it was exactly just what I explained before. Super simple beat, super simple mix. Just everything about it was so plain and simple, all the way down to the mix was just like stock plugins and everything. So I still a little bit had that knee-jerk reaction of like, what? Like, that's it? That's all they did? But then by the time I got to the end of the video and they just, they're playing the track, playing the video, music video with it just to wrap it up. And I'm listening to it and realizing that it's Lil Pump. Why did I say little? It's Lil Pump. Why would you think that it would be anything else but this? Why would you expect it? Why would you need it? Why should it be anything besides what it is? Simple, basic, kind of dumb. I mean, yeah, dumb. Super, super simple, dumb kind of music. And that's just what it is. That's the reality of it. So if you want to be at odds with the reality of it, and you just want to be at odds, opposing reality, or you just accept reality, accept that that's what it is, that there's a person out there making this type of music and large numbers of people are enjoying it. They're fans of it. This guy is doing his thing. And so for me, I look at the reality of that. I'm like, well, I'm not going to hate on him being successful. I want to be successful. Maybe not in the exact same way. I don't want to have pink dreads, but I want to be successful in what I'm doing. And if I became super successful by doing the minimal amount of effort, I would be all for that. I've been working way too hard all these years to have far less success than what I want. So I am changing my approach in a way. I'm trying to. I haven't fully got it yet because I still am still getting caught up in my ways, of course. It's not easy to just flip that switch off 100%. But I think I'm just keeping myself open to the possibilities that I don't always have to do a lot of hard work. Part of me wants to be respected for being a high-level craftsman. Part of me wants to have that nerdy dude with glasses and a beard at some random party to be like, hey man, yeah, I listened to that song you mixed or the song you made, man, and he'll go on and off about these subtle details that I was purposely trying to plant in there so that somebody would pick up on it and maybe one day want to talk to me about it. But then when it actually happens and somebody's talking to me about it, I'm like, fuck, I don't want to hear about that. Yeah, again, there's the idea, there's the reality. So who knows? We'll see. We'll see how it goes from here. I think, yes, you should think. Yes, you should be aware. You should be conscious. You should try to be aware of what's going on at all times. But you also have to be aware of when you don't have to let that awareness be in charge. You can be aware of the fact that you're turning off your awareness. Not fully. I mean, you're just putting it in the back seat. You're like, I know what I'm doing is ignorant, and I'm just going to do it anyways. So don't judge me for being ignorant. But I'll always be aware of exactly how ignorant I'm going to be. If that makes sense. Maybe it doesn't. So, yeah. I haven't done a podcast in quite some time. The last episode that I did was, just to be clear, back in April. It is now June, so it's been almost 2 months. That's far too long. I'll let that one slip. I mean, a lot of it was the idea that I had. Of course, again, the idea that I had for this podcast with each episode would start with me talking about something that I worked on, and then that would be the starting centerpiece of the episode. But I haven't had anything that I worked on released between the last episode and this one, so I didn't do anything. I let it slip. I just forgot about doing another podcast because some reason I feel like, even though I have a podcast called Talk Like No One's Listening, I am talking, or I'm planning this out like people are listening, and I gotta do things a certain way, and I gotta always have content, always gotta have something relevant, like a song that I did, something that's out there that I can discuss and have other people listen to the song too, and then it's this like interactive kind of thing. But it doesn't always have to be like that. You know, the reality is I have a podcast that I can do freely as I please. I can do episodes. I can and I should, and I haven't done it yet, but I can and I should do episodes where I just talk, and there is no centerpiece, there is no focus, there's no song, nothing. I'm just freestyling and talking, which is what I'm doing anyways. So that's just far too long. But I recently just got inspired to just go for it and get back into it and wake up early again to just get the words out of my head. But I had recently listened to a podcast that was where the host was just talking about to their guest that, like, yeah, you should do a podcast too. And, you know, the person's like, I don't know if anyone will listen. And they say, like, you know what? I don't think about it that way. I think that there's enough to go around. There's enough audience for everybody. As long as you are interesting and you have something interesting to say, an audience will form. But you have to just do it. You have to keep doing it. You have to stay on it and focus on it. And it can happen for you, anybody. So, you know, for me, just since I've already been doing it, this is like my 12th episode. So I've already done this 11 times before. So it's not like it's nothing new to me. I just was being lazy about it. And then the other thing that was really interesting was that in a different episode, they were talking with a guest who was, I guess, a bit nervous. They weren't like a very good public speaker, and they were kind of shy about how they were speaking and whatnot. And he was just trying to get them to relax and just talk freely and just, hey, just talk like no one's listening. And that just immediately just flipped a light switch on in my head, because I was like, whoa, that's the name of my podcast. And I've never heard anyone else actually say those words. Like, I just came up with that as the title of my podcast for whatever reason. And then not like I thought it was like something that no one's ever said before in history, but I just personally just never heard anyone say it, especially in the podcasting world. So for this person to say that, it just like was a signal to me, like, hey, remember, you have a podcast and this is what it's called and you should be doing it. And don't judge it for what you're doing. Don't let your judgment of it be the thing that stops you from doing it, because that's what happened. I was just thinking, I was like, oh, I don't have any content. What am I going to talk about? So I'll just wait till I got something else new to material out there so I can talk about, so people have something. And so I ended up, not doing anything for 2 months. But now I realize Like, the only reason I didn't do it is because I just decided not to do it. Because I just decided me just talking was not good enough, even though that's all I'm doing anyways, is just talking freestyle. So, yeah, so it's a weird thing where it's like I start this podcast, I call it what I call it, and I started knowing that no one is out there listening because I just started it. But then in the back of my mind, I have these little decisions that I'm making based off having an audience and caring about would they like this or not, because it's like, oh, I want people to like it, so I get a following, so I get fans, so I get it, so it'll grow, so it'll become a thing. That's what I want. So I don't want to do things that would make that not happen. I don't want to talk about things that are just going to be boring and no one's going to listen and it's not going to grow. But the fact that I'm just thinking about it in that way is causing me to not do it, period, which that is going to make it not grow. So, yeah, so I'm going to be doing this more frequently. I'm going to have a lot more, I'm going to have a pocket of free time where I will be able to do this regularly, and regardless if I have a song to talk about or not, I'll just do it. I'll just have episodes that are just freestyle. And I don't know, for any of you that have listened to multiple episodes of this by now and decide that it's something that you like to listen to, I'm just going to say, I hope you like whatever is coming up and you're interested, but at the same time, I have to not think about that. I have to just go for it. So I hope some of my personal insights and realizations might be of use to any of you, and maybe it might help you think about something that's going on with yourself that has been challenging you. And if it's something that has been caused by your own beliefs and thinking, and you've been getting in your own way, I hope maybe this can help you re-examine yourself and find out in which way you've been getting in your own way. And then maybe you can switch things up and open up the blockage, get things moving for yourself, and find some kind of positive change. I don't know, why am I being this annoying, lame speaker? Pseudo inspirational speaker. I hate that kind of shit, but I don't know. Anyways, see you next time.